A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Welcome to another edition of Bearing Arms, Cam and Company. My name is Cam Edwards. I'm so glad you've joined us on the program today where we are playing the waiting game. Yep, still no decision in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. There are now 13 cases from the current term that have yet to be decided by the Supreme Court. We get another round of opinions released on Thursday of this week. I am doubtful that we're going to get all 13 decisions this Thursday. I think it is quite likely that the Bruin decision comes down next week at some point, although we don't have any official days. Generally, the court releases orders and opinions on Monday, and then maybe a second day. This week it's Tuesday and Thursday because of the Juneteenth federal holiday, so you didn't have the court open on Monday, so we get opinions on Tuesday and Thursday of this week. So you got 13 cases left to be decided. Let's say they deal with 5 or 6 on Thursday. That would leave, 7 or 8 on next Monday. I do think it's going to come down again at some point next week, likely next Monday, although, again, we'll see how many cases come out on Thursday. And it's entirely possible that Bruin gets released on Thursday. There's no rhyme or reason to when these opinions come out. It is, widely believed that the more controversial and high-profile cases the court tends to hold until the last minute. They release the cases, they get out of town. But the Bruin decision could come down, on Thursday as well. The Dobbs decision dealing with the Mississippi abortion law could come down on Thursday. But again, I think it's likely that it's going to be next week. But I will be constantly refreshing the Supreme Court's a webpage, as I did this morning, looking to see every new case that gets posted at 10-minute intervals, by the way. I don't know why it takes that long, but whatever. We are also playing the waiting game in terms of a Senate gun deal. In fact, I was kind of waiting to record today's show to see if a deal would emerge, or at least the legislative text of an agreement between this bipartisan group of Republican and Democrat senators would be released. There were rumors that it was coming yesterday. Fox News had a story. We anticipate that it's coming this afternoon. It did not. The legislative text did not drop on Monday afternoon. Reuters reporting on Tuesday morning that U.S. Senator John Cornyn says that negotiators expect to introduce a bill to address mass shootings later in the day. He said that he has spoken with the Republican Senator Tom Tillis as well as Democratic Senators Chris Murphy and Kyrsten Sinema. And they are now waiting for staff to produce legislative text, which I kind of thought that's what we've been waiting on for, a week and a half or so, right? They announced the framework, maybe longer than that now, 2 weeks ago. And we've been waiting on the legislative text to be released since then. Cornyn said, quote, "I think we're on a glide path, and hopefully it will land shortly." He said that he expected the bill to be introduced on the Senate floor later in the day, but gave no specific time. As Reuters reports, introducing the bill on Tuesday would improve the odds of Senate passage before lawmakers leave for their 2-week July 4th break at the end of this week. I believe Thursday is the last day that the Senate is scheduled to be in session before they head home for 2 weeks for the Independence Day holidays. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? 2-week break? Man, we get a day off. I think I might be taking an extra vacation day the day after Independence Day, but I guess the Senate does come with its perks, right? So here's my concern. Well, okay, so I've got concerns about the red flag provisions in the bill. Primarily, I'm also a little concerned about what the specific language is going to be regarding background checks for 18, 19, and 20-year-olds going into their juvenile records. There's been talk about how that could ultimately lead to basically a de facto waiting period for 18, 19, and 20-year-olds because the juvenile records are not going to be as easily accessible or readily available in the NICS system as the other records that are contained within the NICS system. So, this could lead to what amounts to a 3-day waiting period, perhaps even longer, for 18, 19, and 20-year-olds when they attempt to lawfully purchase a long gun. So I have concerns about some of the provisions that we've heard about that are a part of this framework. But I'll tell you, at this point, my main concern is that this bill gets dropped onto the Senate floor on Tuesday. They want to hold a vote before the Senate recesses on Thursday. And again, this is sort of an artificially imposed deadline. Senators want to get this done before they head home because they're worried that, momentum will slow. And when they come back, it'll be tougher and people will be pointing fingers and I don't like this, I don't like that. Well, there's a good reason why people might be pointing fingers, because anytime you drop a major piece of legislation, and again, this is a major piece of legislation, and you vote on it before you have time to read all the fine print, to parse out all of the details, stuff can slip through, right? And I am concerned that the Democrats, who have been apparently very amenable to watering down this bill, are going to try to include some legislative language kind of, tucked away, right? Just buried in the bill that could be bad news for gun owners. And so I think that this, whatever text emerges today, needs to be gone over with a fine-tooth comb before any vote is held. Because otherwise, you run the risk, again, of inadvertently approving things that may not have been a part of this original framework. Now, I'm not saying that that's guaranteed to happen, but I'm skeptical that Democrats aren't going to try to play some type of game here as they try to ram this bill through. So we will keep our eyes on this. Again, as I'm recording the show, no bill has dropped. There's no way for us to take a look at the specific legislative language. Again, the sticking points over the past couple of days appeared to have been dealing with the grants to states to establish red flag laws. John Cornyn said that he wanted that money to be used as well for states that don't adopt red flag laws, but do have other crisis intervention programs like veterans courts. He wants that money to be available to them as well. Again, Democrats apparently said, well, okay. Then there is the discussion about defining boyfriend or intimate dating partner. If you are trying to expand the prohibition on gun ownership to include those convicted of a domestic violence misdemeanor, not against a spouse or a family member, but again, a dating partner. What is that language going to look like? And we really don't have any idea what sort of agreement has been made between the Democrats and Republicans negotiating on the bill, at least as of the time I'm recording this. By the time you watch it, who knows? Maybe the text will be available, and then we can go through it tomorrow and talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in the Senate gun deal. But in the meantime, we are all waiting to see what the Senate actually comes up with. And again, I'm not pleased about the idea of a rushed vote before they get out of town, if it means that they don't have time to actually look at the details and the devil's inside those details in this particular piece of legislation. But we will keep our eyes on what's going on in D.C. And of course, if the bill drops, you can get the latest at bearingarms.com, where we'll be constantly updating the website with the latest Second Amendment news and information that you need to know about. Now let's turn our attention to today's Armed Citizen story, our good deed of the day, and our recidivist report. I want to spend a little bit of time with these topics today. I saw this headline, and I swear I passed by it the first time because I thought I already covered this story. I didn't. Killeen man sentenced to time served for drive-by shooting. Now, I know some of these recidivist reports, they do tend to run together. But I know that I talked not long ago about a individual who was sentenced to probation for a drive-by shooting. I believe that it was in Killeen, but this is a different case. This is a different suspect altogether. This particular man, Fernando Lanman Price II, 26 years old, just sentenced to time served in the Bell County Jail for a drive-by shooting back in 2019. Judge Paul LePac heard testimony on Thursday from Mr. Price before sentencing him to a term of 8 years of deferred adjudication probation on the second-degree felony charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The judge ordered that Price write a letter of apology, and serve 180 days in jail, which he's already served while he was awaiting trial. Price pleaded guilty back in April to the crime, which again occurred back in 2019, July 19th, 2019, when Killeen police were dispatched to a home in response to a shots fired call. Officers spoke with a guy who lived there. He said he had seen 4 individuals in a black Chevy drive by his residence, had seen 2 men shooting towards his residence. He said that he knew 2 of the men, one of whom was Price, the other a man named Damian Cordell Martin. Witness said that he believed that he had been the target of the shooting due to prior interactions with some of the occupants of the vehicle and the trajectory of the bullets as he was running and trying to find cover. Martin waived his rights and allegedly admitted that he had shot at the man out of retaliation for another incident. Price told police he was in the vehicle, but he didn't know that the drive-by shooting would happen and that only Martin was shooting, although, quote, Martin was driving at the time. Martin being held in the Bell County Jail. His case is set for a jury trial on August the 8th. But again, Mr. Price has gotten probation and nothing but probation. Well, time served for his role in that drive-by shooting. Today's armed citizen story from Leesburg, Florida, where police say a homeowner shot a would-be burglar on his way into the home. This was Monday just before noon. Detectives say that there were actually 2 suspects who were trying to gain entry into the residence when the homeowner shot one of the 2. The suspects apparently gained entry through a back sliding glass door. Don't know if that door was left unlocked or if they broke through the sliding glass door, but the would-be burglar who was shot transported to a local trauma center for treatment. The homeowner uninjured. The second suspect did get away. And at last report, no identification for that suspect. But again, the homeowner uninjured, thankfully, and acting well within their right to protect and defend themselves, so not facing any charges either. Finally today, our good deed of the day, in the right place, at the right time, willing and able to do the right thing. A driver in White Settlement, Texas. Now, you remember White Settlement? This was the home of the church shooting a couple of years ago, in which one of the armed parishioners, part of the church security team, quickly stopped that attack before many people were killed or injured. So White Settlement, Texas, I guess you got a little bit of a history of folks in the right place at the right time, willing and able to do the right thing. In this case, it was a Good Samaritan who helped police capture a stolen car suspect. Yeah, officials say that 2 police officers were chasing a stolen car suspect on foot, by the way, in, your typical mid-June weather in central Texas. It was upper 90s. Both of the men were wearing 25 pounds of gear, including body armor, and one of the officers fell behind. Jimmy Davis was driving down the road, saw what was going on, pulled over, and said, hey, you need a lift? And Corporal John Porter said, yes, I do. Thank you very much. So Jimmy Davis actually took Corporal Porter to the spot where his partner had captured the suspect and had him on the ground. And there, Davis was able to get out after the quick commute. Police Chief Christopher Cook, quick to thank Jimmy Davis, saying the partnership between police and the community that they serve is key to having a safe city. And the suspected car thief is, in fact, now in custody. Well, at least facing charges. He might have already bonded out by now. I mean, given our criminal justice system. But in the right place, at the right time, willing and able to do the right thing. Jimmy Davis there in White Settlement, Texas, we thank you for your very good deed. We have a couple of more armed citizen stories at BearingArms.com, by the way, including a suspected carjacker in California who brought a butter knife to a gunfight, as well as an Iowa woman who was forced to defend herself while she was shopping early Sunday morning in Des Moines. I would encourage you to head over to bearingarms.com. Check out those stories and more. If you like what you see, you can always become a VIP subscriber. Just use the promo code GUNRIGHTS, and you can get a significant savings on your VIP membership. And in return, as our way of saying thanks for your support, we're going to give you exclusive content, news stories, analysis, things you won't get anywhere else, because your support does matter, and it really does make a difference. Thanks again for being a part of today's program. We will be back tomorrow. Hopefully the wait will be over. Well, I don't know about that. I'm going to say hopefully. But hopefully we'll know more details about this a deal in the Senate. Won't have any more details on Bruin. But we will talk again tomorrow. Until then, be well, be safe, and be free.